Seagal became Hollywood's worst celebrity. Let's get into it.
Puppy dog and stole money from a kid in a wheelchair. Steven Seagal
This nigga's a
has
fucking
such a
devil.
comically terrible history. He now simply refuses to face it.
I wonder how you deal with all that. Hello, Steven Seagal.
Number one, treating
outta
other
there.
actors terribly during filming.
Put this shit on.
I have a family member that worked with him years ago on a low-budget film.
I can't say it on
Steven
Twitch, but you know what I was gonna say.
miserable and rude, but it only gets worse from here. Whilst filming for the movie Exit Wounds, stuntman Steven Quadros explained that Seagal would unexpectedly kick guys in the nuts to see if they were wearing cuffs.
What the
Which
fuck?
is also mentioned by a different stuntman in a completely unrelated interview.
The first thing he's gonna do is kick you in the nuts. He's like, oh, hey, we're wearing a cup? Well, he's just gonna pop you in the nuts. That's the first thing he does.
Oh, I'm
One
socking him
comment
in his
stated,
shit.
I actually know a few stuntmen and actors who've worked with Seagal, and they all echo the same thing about him, one of whom might have been Stephen Lambert, who stated Seagal became more unpredictable during his fight scenes.
He's notorious of breaking people's arms, legs, ribs.
As he'd actually punch and hit other actors to make the fights look real.
He was actually hitting the stuntman like
Oh,
for real.
hell yeah. He's known for that.
To make matters worse, protective equipment wasn't allowed on set.
There's nothing wrong with putting on pads. They would say no because he wouldn't allow it.
And it's
That's some
therefore no
bullshit.
surprise that during one scene, Seagal injured DMX's
Least
shoulder
mince-
during the
what?
fight, so
Mince-
X had
Bro,
to
where are
take
you
a few
from?
days off. Even worse was when Seagal put a stuntman in hospital.
And he beat the shit out of the guy and smashed his face to the mirror multiple times. He went over the top to the point that sent the guy to the hospital.
Which isn't surprising given he was this rough
Atlanta,
while filming a
Wakanda.
YouTube video.
Got it.
I wasn't ready.
As a result, actors have to be extremely careful just to appear alongside him.
Oh yeah, I'm fighting back though. This
Third
nigga in his
eye
ass
of
whoop.
what he's doing. And if you're not good enough, he's gonna hurt you.
Although not only because of unexpected injuries. Seagal would show up on set demanding insane movie changes.
Calls the director, he's like, we're changing the scene. We're gonna do the scene in Arabic. He's gonna teach me. And he's like, put this camera here, put this camera here. And I was like, everybody's like, what?
While Steven Tobolowsky told a funny story where Seagal randomly stopped acting on set due to an unexpected crisis.
Steven Seagal has had a spiritual awakening. He decided that he doesn't want to kill people anymore in movies. And Steven says,
What?
I think it's just bad that we keep putting this violence into the
Bro,
world.
fuck
This
that.
resulted in a
You know
$14
damn about your
million
address, ho?
lawsuit claiming that Seagal not only regularly showed up late and left early, but also made regular unauthorized changes to the script and dialogue, which could result in the loss of millions of dollars because parts of the film's plot that were promised now cannot be delivered to the film buyers. Seagal was sued for another $60 million after repeating his actions on 4 other sets, justifying his lack of effort with the worst excuse you'll ever hear. Seagal backed out because his Buddhist guru known as Mukara said the films would create bad karma, perhaps because Seagal's also been exposed for exaggerating his skills as a fighter. Steven Seagal is in fact a black belt martial artist, however his martial art of choice Aikido has been heavily criticized for being one of those mostly impractical martial arts that has extremely
nigga do
limited
Aikido?
application in real life scenarios.
He is a legitimate Aikido.
You
black
niggas,
belt,
you niggas are
but
getting, you niggas are on probation. You niggas are not on chat no more. Here you go. Your chat is not on screen. You niggas are cooked.
The martial
Who
art.
do you niggas on
is
probation?
The
Hold that.
questionable thing.
A Reddit comment describes Seagal's martial art to be kind of a cult with fake telegraphed attacks. The attackers are just there to make the master look good, which is exactly what's shown in this video, where Seagal's attackers just fall to the floor to make him look good for the crowd. Unfortunately,
shit
people
look
don't
ass,
voluntarily
boy.
flip over in the real world. This makes pro wrestling
Nope,
look
fuck
good,
all you niggas.
wonderfully choreographed. Fighting is always easier when your opponent cooperates. It's therefore
Facts.
no surprise Seagal has no professional fighting record.
Who never made does Aikido? So-and-so coming in the cage isn't a world champion with a background in Aikido. You never heard that once. Have you ever heard that once? It's for a reason.
But he did claim that he'd taught Anderson Silva how to do a highly
Brother, lock your ass
specialized
up.
move, the leg kick.
I
Facts.
started teaching him kicks that I thought he could really hurt people with, and at that point I knew he was going to start to really make these kicks, you know, work.
He created the front kick. Did he invent the wheel too? In response, Anderson Silva made a video mocking Steven Seagal's fighting, although there was one more attempt by Seagal to prove he could actually fight. Whilst on set for the movie Out for Justice, Seagal claimed that due to his Aikido training, he couldn't possibly be choked unconscious. The challenge was taken up by martial artist Gene LaBelle, who not only choked Seagal out instantly, but also caused Seagal to soil himself in the moments he was blacking out.
This old ass nigga choked him out? Oh, fuck no.
Sometimes
Why you on
Steven
dick
has
all the
a
time?
tendency to cheese
You
off
hate
the wrong
fun?
people, and you
You
can
niggas
get
on
hurt
probation
by
ain't trying to
doing
hear none of that.
So if a guy soils himself, you can't criticize him, because if they just had a nice big dinner an hour before, you might have a tendency to do that. Seagal responded by claiming that he and LaBelle had never even fought.
There was never ever any confrontation with him ever. And if Gene is saying shit like that, he should be ashamed of himself. And so if he said that, he is a pathological scumbag liar.
Although nobody
boy
believes
wild
Seagal's
as
side of
shit.
the story,
That nigga is
as he has his own
bro.
list of well-documented lies. For example, Seagal made the insane claim that he was honored as the first private citizen to destroy a nuclear device,
What?
whilst also claiming he was recruited by the CIA to help carry out undercover
Oh my
missions.
goodness,
It
this
explained,
nigga
"You could
is
say that I
schizophrenic,
became
boy."
an advisor to several CIA agents in the field, and through my friends in the CIA met many powerful people and did special works and special favors, although an investigation by a magazine found these claims were completely bogus."
Facts.
It also dispelled the myth that Seagal once fought the Yakuza in his dojo, as the magazine interviewed Seagal's ex-wife, who stated it's a lie. He once chased a few drunks away from the dojo, but never was involved with the Yakuza.
Nigga think he
Similarly,
fighting
Seagal
world
made the claim that he
renowned
was a tough
gangs?
kid who was feared
Drunk
by
as shit.
others, yet this was dispelled by his own mother, who stated her son was frail and suffered from asthma. He was a
Wow.
puny kid back then, although Seagal had a plan to clarify exactly what was fact and fiction. He'd post a Reddit Ask Me Anything, likely expecting normal questions. However, the responses would only deepen the past that was already haunting him. What kind of pants were you wearing when Gene LaBelle choked you unconscious and caused you to shit your pants? I personally know
Wow.
a stuntman who had all of his front teeth knocked out by you and said you didn't even apologize. Why did you do that? Can you explain how you developed the front kick that Anderson Silva used in his UFC fight? Although there was one more question that was worse than any other. Hey there, I went to the same junior high school as you in Fullerton, CA many years later. Heard some stories. The one I would like to ask you about is when your social studies teacher caught you stealing lunch money from a kid in a wheelchair.
This nigga is a
True, I
dickhead,
didn't make
boy.
this up. Seagal understandably avoided the damning questions. However, by answering some of the easy ones, he'd introduce another flaw: his massive ego. What is your current biggest drive that motivates you? I am a champion and I want to remain a champion.
You go watch
Seagal's
that, you bitch ass
overinflated
nigga.
self-image was best shown in this interview, where he'd implied that Van Damme wasn't a good martial artist.
I think that that's a matter of opinion, that he was a champion anywhere.
Which was then proven at a party when the two came head to head. The party was hosted by Sylvester Stallone, who stated, Van Damme was tired of Seagal saying he could kick his ass and went right up to him and offered him the chance to step outside so he could wipe the floor with him.
Okay.
Seagal made some excuse and left.
He's a
Van
bitch.
Damme, who was completely berserk, tracked him down and again offered him a fight, and again Seagal pulled a Houdini.
That boy
yet
is
Seagal
scary as shit, boy.
unsurprisingly stated it was Van Damme who ran from him.
Is that true he got in a fight with you?
No, it'd be like me squashing an ant. If he sees me, he runs.
It's therefore no surprise that Seagal despises
Nigga, you a
Van
hater?
Damme.
I know.
On Jean-Claude Van Damme? Can I laugh in your face? Do I think Jean-Claude's a tough guy in martial arts? No.
However, Van Damme has only ever said positive things about Seagal in return.
Met the guy a few times. He's a nice guy. Doesn't like me much. I like him a lot. Good guy. Good charisma. He's got something special on the screen.
You a
Another
damn good
example
one,
of
bro?
Steven
I know,
Seagal's
everybody
ego
tells
came
me.
from a story told by Rob Schneider.
Finally, Steven Seagal emerges and he comes out and he said, I just read the greatest script I've ever read in my life. He goes, really? Who wrote it? I did.
Which only becomes funnier once you realize that
Look at this
said
bitch ass
best
nigga
script
stealing
ever
content, not
was for
doing
his terrible
anything productive.
performance on Saturday
Look at you
Night
dick riding
Live.
this nigga.
Listen to me.
Stupid ass
carefully.
boy.
I don't want you to talk about anything to me anymore. I don't want you to say my name anymore.
With atrocious lines such as that one, it's no surprise a long-term SNL employee called Seagal
Worst host by lapped every bad host.
However, Seagal's hosting of another show somehow ended even worse. In 2009, Seagal told the LA Times he'd apparently been
freaky
a
ass on my
policeman
pet
for
before I
more
send
than
your ass to
20
the sixth level of
years,
hell.
proving this by showing a black and white photo of him raising his right hand in what looks like
Your
a
ass don't
swearing
get
in
sent to the knife.
ceremony, creating the impression it was taken when he first joined the department. At closer inspection, however, it appears the photo was taken 20 years and at least 20 pounds after the fact, casting doubt on whether Seagal had ever been part of the force. Regardless, this led Seagal to create a show called Lawman, where he and his crew went around apprehending criminals, often done with excessive force to make for enjoyable viewing. Well, in one episode, Seagal attempts to break up an illegal cockfighting operation by raiding a house with a tank with the goal of freeing the animals.
Animal cruelty is one of
What the fuck?
pet peeves.
However, after doing so, the property's owner Jesus
Nigga, he
Sanchez
different, bro.
Rivera quickly filed a $100,000 lawsuit which claims that more than 100 prize chickens being bred for show were killed by Seagal and his colleagues.
What the fuck?
An 11-month-old puppy was also shot and killed during the early morning raid. Seagal responded by stating, "I've been called a lot of things in my career, some of them not so kind. But to be labeled an animal abuser is beyond the pale, and that is simply a role
He's a
I will
liar,
not
so you never know
accept."
when the
While
fuck
another
this nigga tells the
policeman
truth. This
stated,
shit
"If my
ass,
deputies,
bruh."
or Posseman Seagal for that matter, had done something so awful like shooting a family dog, then where are the photos to prove it?" It seemed for the first time ever Seagal wasn't actually lying. However, there was one more lawsuit that would end the show completely. In mid-2010, Steven Seagal was sued for sex trafficking, which became one of so many different allegations, it's genuinely difficult to count them all. On the set of 1991 Out for Justice, 4 different women quit during filming due to Seagal's continued piggery, while one of the stuntmen from earlier told an equally creepy story.
There's this girl sitting in a tub. She's wearing bikini, and they had to convince her that she has to come out of the tub naked.
The only thing that might rival his terrible track record with women is his track record with low-rated movies,
Damn!
none of which receiving more than 50% on Rotten Tomatoes, or more than 5 out of 10 on IMDb. And with no new movies in the last 5 years, Seagal has opted for a modern method of generating extra income: crypto scams.
Damn!
Ladies and gentlemen,
This nigga's a
Steven
piece of
Seagal
shit.
scams people with crypto.
From Team Seagal, Steven has just become the worldwide ambassador for the Bitcoin second generation cryptocurrency. Despite gaining only 150 likes, Steven was promised $250,000 in cash and $750,000 worth of B2G tokens in exchange for his promotions, which
Trust
he
the wrong
failed
kind
to
of bread?
disclose
Nah,
to the
this nigga has
public,
no morals. He
resulting
don't
in
give
a
a fuck.
$330,000 fine. Seagal paid only $75,000 toward his debt before refusing to appear in court, then moving to Russia where he still lives now.
Nigga moved to Russia. Oh my god. Seen it all.